Cool. That's what we got. That's it. We are live. Ah,
Sweet.
nice. Very cool. We got it's gonna be an interesting day. We got Danish Chaudhry here.
Hey.
He is head of the Bitcoin.com exchange.
Woo.
And currently stuck in an exotic locale somewhere due to volcanoes, which is
somewhere where the sun shines, actually.
And we also got Nick Mancini. He is our chief community officer over at Trade the Chain, as well as one of our research analysts. So it's an interesting day. This is like crypto's coming out party, more or less. We got Coinbase doing a direct listing today. Ticker Coin, and really just want to discuss, from an exchange point of view, Danish, really what this is going to look like for other exchanges as well as for cryptocurrency in general.
I think it legitimizes the business, right? I mean, I know I was watching Bloomberg earlier and they were like, oh, you're making markets. Meanwhile, you're also in the markets at the same time as Coinbase. But I think that's just whatever. I think if Coinbase does well, which they should, given their numbers, they're one of the largest custodians. They've got like 100 billion under management, if not more by now.
244, according to CNBC this morning.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And here, I'll just share a screen of what's going on over here. Look at that. They're in New York.
I'm looking at. Yeah. I think it legitimizes us, right? So us as a business, it kind of says we've grown up and we're not just a bunch of dudes in the basement kind of trading make-believe shitcoin sort of thing. That is a legit business. There's a real use case for crypto. And yeah, I think it's paves the way for other exchanges to come about. I think once this happens, hopefully it goes well. Kraken's next in line, and Kraken's also one of the biggest exchanges out there. They're already eyeing an IPO at a smaller valuation, but still, they've got the licenses. They just got a banking license, I think, in Wyoming or wherever it was.
What are the second ones?
Yeah, and then obviously there's Gemini. There's a few others. I don't know what's going to happen with the Asian ones, but FTX could be also next in line as well. So,
well, speaking of FTX, it's interesting to. I think right now we have Coinbase. They've been doing synthetic trading on Coinbase for this IPO, and right now we have about $555 speculation on the share there, so it's pretty interesting. I'll pull up. I'll go over there real quick. But yeah, I mean, let's see. This is not the coin USD.
Yes, sir. There you go.
There we go. Look at this.
Oh.
Wow, big.
Yeah, see, I mentioned it'd be a short because it was always that would be just as short as market opens, because it has to come back in line with what it opens at.
And that's an interesting point, Danish. I mean, earlier this morning before we went on the air, we saw that Coinbase was doing quite well on the FTX. Let's just synthetic share trading. Now it's taken quite a retraction, and your point is that we're looking to match up with what the $250 opening.
Yeah, we need to come back in line with it. Yeah, exactly that, right? Like, as in, obviously, there's speculation that drives it up. We don't know. It's not opened yet. But yeah, it's going to need to come down to. I can't imagine Coinbase opening up at 600 right away, right? So,
well, yeah, NASDAQ gave it a direct listing price yesterday of $250.
Yeah.
So that's what it's at. I do, in full disclosure, have some limit buy orders open for between there and 300.
That's good.
And one of the things, Nick, we're looking at the FTX shares on Coinbase right now, but what's going to be interesting are the Bitcoin related or exposed stocks around it, right? So we have like MSTR, that's heavy into Bitcoin with their treasury. We have stocks like Riot.
Yep, Riot just had a big acquisition too, 500 million.
Did they?
Yeah.
They acquired somebody?
Yeah, they had the largest American onshore mining ops facility.
Oh, okay.
517 stock and cash deal.
Wow, that's pretty big.
Yeah. Everyone's selling Apple to get into Coinbase this morning.
Well, here we go. We got the 1 minute chart on Riot. It's in the bullish territory, as well as MSTR is as well, going into the open in the first minutes of trading here. So it's really interesting. Now, one of the real things to watch is going to be interesting is Voyager stock. Now, we have Voyager stock as an already publicly traded company, but it's one of those things where people are going to look to capitalize on Coinbase going public across the board with its counterparts. And here is a good one to see. Now, we already see on the chart, we have a little bullish action going up, but I'm curious, guys, to see how these stocks operate when coin goes into its trading effect, and if it's going to be followed, pretty much correlated throughout the trading day. Any thoughts on that?
So go ahead, Danish.
No, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so I think it's a difficult question to answer. I don't think it'll be 1-to-1, but I think, and I tweeted this earlier today, I do think this is one of the extremely rare buy the rumor, buy the news type of days. You can see, I think Coinbase's user count jumped up by a few million just in the few weeks that they've been hyping up their IPO, as well as exchange tokens have been have had monster runs running up to Coinbase, as well as we can see companies like Master or MSTR and Riot. Obviously, Riot had news, but MSTR just made a baby Bitcoin purchase, and they've been skyrocketing along with the speculation for Coinbase. So I think that things move with Coinbase. I think Coinbase is a leader. I think the other companies kind of lag behind as a good proxy play for people to kind of rotate in or maybe not get in on the volatile Coinbase trade. And then I'm expecting money to be made this week to eventually trickle back into the crypto markets as people kind of speculate, make their traditional money, park some extra cash back into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe a few shit coins that are getting hyped up too. So that's kind of my thesis for the next week at least.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree with that. I think if this does well, I think everybody in Robinhood is going to roll their profits into shitcoins, right? I think it's a big indicator that if they make money on Coinbase itself, they're obviously going to make money on the underlying assets. And it's also interesting. I was just thinking that this is going to be like a future, because right now us at exchanges, we kind of operate in a very private sort of manner. Like nobody really gets to see our earnings or our financials, etc. And exchanges like have done well over the course of last year. So I think in the future, Coinbase will prove to be a very good insight for the traditional guys into how the crypto market happens or how it performs. So they'll see earnings go up and down as the price of Bitcoin goes up and down, and there's less mystery around how it happens, sort of thing. So I think it'll be a good lens for people to see that crypto is still very lucrative.
Yeah, I think the thing with retail, and I think a lot of people are getting into crypto, but I still know a lot of people who love to trade and just still have not taken up my advice to dig into crypto. They're talking about 2 to 3% kind of bangers per day, and I'm like, hey man, I just called the token, it's doing 10-15%. You got to get over here. They're still reluctant to do that because crypto is sketchy, or the exchange, they don't trust it as much or whatever. So I think the market seeing Coinbase have one of the if not the largest IPO ever, direct listing or not, everyone is going to be like, wow, they actually might be legit. Like they're on CNBC for 2 weeks straight. You know, everyone's talking about them. The people that I listen to are talking about them. So I think that we're kind of seeing a talk about a sentiment shift, is that not even just feelings and tweets. People are literally, their psychology is changing in reference to trading stocks and crypto. I think we're going to see a lot more happen side by side now that Coinbase is the signal. Hey, we are legit. Everything is okay. People trust us. And now we will have competitors come in to actually compete with our offering and create a much better market itself. So I'm extremely bullish on this news all the way around.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, just to reiterate for those joining us, Danish Chaudhry, who's head of Bitcoin.com exchange, dealing with the retail market extensively. You know, have you seen, what has the numbers been like for you guys as far as, you know, over the last 60 days with people moving into crypto trading on the exchanges, particularly, you know, let's say Bitcoin.com exchange?
So numbers have been up. I mean, as you would imagine, quote unquote, up only, right? Not only, so we've been aggressive in listing a few of the popular tokens over the last 60 to 90 days because we knew this event was happening. And yes, we'll get users on, but you know, aggressively listing some popular tokens also kind of exacerbated that effect. And so our signups have doubled on a weekly basis. Our volume has tripled over the course of like the 3 months. More interestingly, what we've seen, because we're primarily a crypto to crypto exchange right now with fiat coming soon. Although we do have fiat on-ramps, our fiat inflows have increased far more than our crypto inflows have increased. So that means it's a good indicator that people are actually using their fiat to enter into the market. So it's been positive overall. I think it's not just BTC or BCH inflows. It's actually like, you know, sterling and euro inflows have been fairly strong for us.
Yeah, no, and I think that's across the board, like you said. What do you think as far as, you know, I just want, in the live chat, there's some people asking for when this listing is going to come out. This listing is able to come out at its own time duration. It can come out at, you know, could have come out at 9:30,
Yeah.
but can also be held back by both, you know, the regulators, NASDAQ, the company, for a later time. Typically, we see with IPOs late morning, early afternoon, as they, you know, get ready for demand and volatility. A couple things that I think people should be aware of if they're not familiar with direct listings is, one, these are shares offered directly to the public. There was no book runners or investment banks that were underwriting this for pre-sale. So there's no one who bought it last week or 2 weeks ago that's going to sell it at the open like the blocks that they usually sell with an IPO ahead of time. Also, there is a chance of volatility that could halt the trading on the stock, so be wary of that. There's a couple different circuit breakers with NASDAQ, so depending on how this goes, if the party gets too rowdy, so to speak, they will stop it based on those circuits.
Markets opening up. I think they've missed, sorry not to cut you off, I think they've missed I mean, I'm just looking at Bloomberg, and Bloomberg's like full of Coinbase right now. You should pull up Bit Digital's chart. It's up 20%. It's one of the largest mining operators as well. And they're doing a comparison of what we're doing with like all the Bitcoin related stocks, and they're all up, with Bit Digital being up 20%. I personally think they missed a bit of a trick not launching at market open. Because I think everybody was eyeing 9:30 so that they could, you know, press the green button and pile in. But now it's just going to be who's waiting for it right now.
Yeah,
and you've got a lot of retail loaded up with cash in the brokerage account right now that can't buy coin, right? So maybe they're going to MSTR, maybe they're going to Riot, maybe they're going to something else.
Using the trick right now. I think they should straight up 9:30 coin right away. Just I bet everybody's at their desks. Whoever's going to the office or whoever's sitting at home, just like waiting to press buy. And now they're just like elsewhere.
Just a quick update on Coinbase's current price. We saw two big buy candles come, or volume candles come in right around the 560 mark. Yep, we just had a massive green candle come in, like literally right as I said that.
Put up on screen.
Yep.
Yeah, we just got a
right here.
very thick 1 minute candle. There you go. Right, that candle happened right as I was speaking. So
you can see the volatility, Nick, happening right here.
Yeah, literally 30. That's a $40 candle right there.
One of the things that's interesting, we have CNBC still here on the other side, waiting for the first trade of coin. There was a little break in the news. Guys, actually, they stopped covering this for a second while they covered Bernie Madoff, who has died at the age of 82.
Oh, he died?
Yeah, he's died, or 81, I believe. So now we're back here. We're still awaiting the first trade, and of course, we're gonna let everybody know when that comes. But while we talk, we'll keep this FTX chart up of Coinbase because it really is interesting. One of the things I wanted to get to is, as far as adoption is concerned, this IPO is really bringing it to the average users. I mean, me personally, I think mutual funds are going to need to buy into this stock at some point in order to gain that exposure to Bitcoin from their customer demand. But what do you guys think about all of a sudden this being, available to everybody? And by the way, I just saw another thing where people can buy this. The easiest place to buy this is actually if you have Robinhood. It's on the Robinhood app. You can put in your market or your bid price for when it does open on Robinhood right now, actually.
I think it's exciting because, like, obviously this is a great, first it used to be like GBTC was your natural exposure to Bitcoin because you couldn't hold BTC in your IRA. But now you can hold Coinbase, which is not just BTC, but a bunch of other alts as well. So like it's a diversified exposure to how the crypto market performs. So I think it's going to be really exciting. And how long do you have to be trading to get into S&P? I think it's 90 days, right? Or like a longer period or whatever. But when it enters the S&P, that's when hopefully, if Tesla can go into the S&P, I'm sure Coinbase can too.
I think they've got to have a few straight quarters of profits, or profitable quarters as well, like 3 or 4 straight. Because I remember that was a big deal for Tesla.
Yeah, so maybe like by, let's just say, end of 2021 or Q1, Q2 2022, when coin enters S&P, that's going to be really, really exciting. But yeah, I think this is for those who think that direct BTC exposure is a little risky or GBTC is a little too pricey because of the premium or whatever, I think Coinbase will be like a really good, exposure stock to the crypto industry.
Yeah, one of the best takes that I heard on that topic was the fact that, if you're an investor who believes in crypto as growing but don't want to pick a single horse, Coinbase allows you to pick the whole stall, so to speak. You get the exposure as the market continues to grow, and obviously the profits that the company makes on the heels of that, without having to ever pick a single crypto winner. So you just get to ride the wave, so to speak, without digging in too deep. So it's a really good kind of entry point for people like that too.
Now, another interesting thing here is, and I will share this, look at what's happening with Voyager Digital right here. Look at these.
Wow.
So this is really interesting, folks. This is Voyager Digital. This is on the 1 minute candles. And I think this stock is going to be affected by Coinbase. This is where people are going to play off a public exchange. They're going to go to stocks like Voyager and start hoping for that arbitrage.
Can you pull up Bit Digital? The ticker is BTBT.
What's the ticker?
BTBT. Bravo Tango, Bravo Tango.
Bravo Tango. Bravo Tango. Bit Digital?
Yeah.
All right, here, let's go over to Bit Digital.
Just FYI, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say Coinbase found its local bottom. So that's my prediction right now.
What's your prediction?
Coinbase found its local bottom and should continue to move up from these levels.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's been some various analyst predictions from some of the traditional houses stating that Coinbase, they're looking for Coinbase to be, I've seen the predictions from anywhere from $420 up onto $600. That does put the market cap over that $200 billion mark. That's a big company, and I guess time will tell if it's sustainable.
Look at that. Look at this mining guy that just went from like 15 to 17 to all the way up to 18.
Yeah, this just goes to show you guys the stocks, the public stocks that are surrounding this direct listing are going to be rewarded. I think it's going to have the effect across the board for any of the exposure when it comes to it. Now, one interesting thing is, let's take a look real quickly at the overall sentiment of the crypto market. You have, if you look here, you have bearish, one neutral, bearish, well, neutral tether. You have bearish down the board for the hourly sentiment. You have bearish and neutral pretty much down the board for the daily sentiment. We're still holding bullish and very bullish on the long term. But why do you guys feel that this is short-term bearish on the crypto market? I mean, let's take a look at the at Bitcoin's chart.
I think go back to TTC. So I think it's bearish because I think sentiment is just driven. It's a sentiment thing, right? So it's sentiment is probably driven away from Bitcoin right now and kind of looking at Coinbase right now. So most of the people are talking on Twitter about Coinbase's IPO.
It's yeah, I think that's one of it. I think the other thing is today is a typical sell the news type of day.
Yeah.
And I think so sentiment is generally going to be bearish because you're going to see everyone tweeting, and they already started yesterday, buy Bitcoin, sell your alts, or long Bitcoin, short your alts. Well, alts were up 5 to 10% across the board yesterday in anticipation for this. So in the sense of quote unquote sell the news, it's not typically like what it is, but it's not a massive green candle day. Everything is either 0.5% down or within a few percentage points up. So it's bearish in the sense that the algorithms are picking up the general consensus across the market of people expecting this to be a sell the news type of day. And people are very much focused on CNBC and staring at the Coinbase chart. So there's probably not as much volume typically happening in the large caps as usual. Now, once Coinbase starts to fly and people are kind of understand, a few hours pass and people actually get to understand of what things look like and how Coinbase is affecting the rest of the market, I think we'll see the tide shift. So sentiment right now is just because this is how people perceive the market. Today should be a sell the news type of day, but I don't think it's going to be an actual sell the news type of day.
Well, I hope not. I think in my mind, a lot of this is driven by institutional algos and market makers and all that sort of stuff. So there is a possibility, as soon as it lists, we see a red candle with an immediate sell-off with the subsequent buyback. But I think we do see like a little bit of a sell the news sort of thing, but just momentarily sort of thing.
Yeah. I think people are probably expecting that and have buy orders placed accordingly.
Yeah. I mean, the markets, intraday markets, like it's looking good right now. Like S&P, NASDAQ, FTSE, DAX, all up. Bitcoin ETF drumbeat gets louder, according to Bloomberg. Mike Novogratz is saying we're going to do something. I think, yeah, it's really, what makes me bullish is like every day I look at Bloomberg, and I think over the course of the last 6 months, I've seen so much more coverage on a daily basis of Bitcoin and ETFs and Bitcoin ETFs and the Coinbase IPO over the last 6 months than the last 4 years combined.
Yeah, we have Fidelity, Goldman, and Skybridge in competition, and Novogratz and Galaxy Digital have said that they would like to transfer the trust, the GBTC, into an ETF ASAP.
Yeah,
There's a lot of acronyms there, but that's 4 big boys competing for the first Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah. Which is going to be funny.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys see as far as how this affects, let's say, Bitcoin price? Are we going to have a big jump today in Bitcoin price? Are we going to, is it even going to matter? Do you think this is one of the catalysts that drives it, as we discussed on yesterday's episode, Trade the Chain, to that 75,000 mark into the honeypot?
I think we kind of, it's bound to, right? I think we've been consolidating. My personal opinion is we've been consolidating around the 54, 58 mark for a week, 2 weeks now. It's been a while. We try to push up 60 and come back down, back to 58 range. Now we're finally 64. I think if this goes well, I think, and it's just my, I think looking at what's happening right now, there will be a section of the market that will flow directly into Robinhood and buy coin, because obviously the multiple over there is going to be a lot higher. But I think slowly that's going to come back to Bitcoin, and then that's when it pushes up past into that 75K mark.
I'm very much leaning towards that as well. I think we're going to see a lull in just general volume and interest of, top or large cap crypto assets, because everyone just probably pulled a little bit of money to play with coin or make some sort of coin proxy play.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that, and based on what I'm seeing off the technicals, it's not out of the question to see maybe a 1% drop from where we are here. But like we just said before, whatever does happen, if things do fall below a certain level, like let's say like 62K or something like that, buys will come in to scoop all that up and then push retail into kind of a momentum trade again. So I think that we're just kind of seeing a general lull because of lack of interest, because even Kramer is talking about Coinbase for 2 hours straight on CNBC. I never would have guessed that 2 years ago. So, there's just not the attention on Bitcoin for the next few hours, but it will return.
Yeah, I mean, like Tom on Bloomberg, like this morning, they were live on air and he signed up for a Coinbase account. And he's like, "Oh, I got my first $5 welcome bonus sort of thing." And so that, I think that's what's also going to drive people towards coin. It literally took him like 2 seconds to sign up for a Coinbase account.
Yep.
Which is what Coinbase does really, really well.
Well, that's the whole purpose, right? Is to create that ease of use. So, we always talk about it. Adoption comes with ease of use, and that means our parents can do it and not think about it. Kind of like swiping a credit card, kind of like the experience you guys are trying to give over at Bitcoin.com exchange as well. And Danish, as well as I think any other platform. And that's why Robinhood and Voyager and Coinbase have taken off. Like they have. It's that ease of use. And I'd like to welcome Rob from Digital Asset News. How are you this morning, Rob?
Great. Sorry, late to the party. Had to get some things done this morning. Thanks for having me on, everybody.
Were you putting in your limit orders for Coinbase this morning on Robinhood, or?
I don't know where this is going, man. I don't know where this is going. Like, I listened to your show yesterday, and Ryan and CJ had a good point. They go, these IPOs, or in this case, I guess this direct listings, things go pretty well in the beginning, but a lot of times you'll see like things just skyrocket and then just kind of taper off. So I don't even know what the price is. So get me up to speed real quick.
No, so it hasn't even started trading yet. We have CNBC on that we've been toggling back and forth on. We're waiting for the first trade. What you're looking at right now is FTX's synthetic Coinbase shares. So they actually were as high as $627 this morning, $627. They've now retracted. We're about $550 right now. The NASDAQ gave the presumptuous opening share price of Coinbase when it does start trading at $250. And so, Danish is feeling that FTX prices have to kind of retract to get closer in line with the listing price. But yeah, we're still waiting for the first trade to happen.
Yeah. What did everybody say? What did Nick and Danish? Hello, good morning, gentlemen. What did you guys say? Where's the price going to go today? That's the question. I think everybody's just refresh me.
I think my prediction is we open higher. I think 65 billion. I think that we were going to open it. I think we open 80 or 100. I think we close the day at 200.
No.
That's a bold prediction, but I think in reality it'll be around the 100, 120 mark.
I think I'm a little bit more bullish just because I think thing's just going to take off from just stupid hype. So I'm in the camp that we could tip 200 billion in total market cap today. But I don't think we'll
close it at that though.
So I actually have to dip. I have got a 10 o'clock meeting, so I'm going to bounce out. And I wanted to do that respectfully. So good luck to everyone on the stream, and I will be watching in the audience moving forward.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Now, Rob, what we're showing right now is Voyager Digital's stock price. And look at this 1 minute chart here. As we move into listing of coin. This is, I don't know what's happening. And maybe some insights, Danish, Rob, anybody?
I mean, that means some things. Can you go to Coin? Has that started trading? Because people could be rotating profits from.
We are not trading.
Still not trading?
Let me just double check. No, we're not trading yet.
I don't know. People could be rotating into others, right? Like, what's MicroStrategy looking like?
I mean, MicroStrategy 805, BT.
That's also going red. Yeah, interesting.
So maybe that.
Bitcoin 65K. Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, Bit Digital here also down or trending down at least. But yeah, this coin, we see the FTX synthetic shares of Coinbase trending down as well. And VGF Voyager Digital stock actually going pretty decently in a downward trend. We'll see if this engulfing bullish candle continues to kind of reverse that course. But it's interesting. And, you know, Bitcoin, here we got Bitcoin. We're a little bearish. So we'll see what happens.
63. Okay.
Yeah, and continue with overall sentiment on the hourly bearish as well as the daily bearish neutral. So it's an interesting day in the markets for sure.
Well, that can make sense though. I mean, just like what Danish said, if they're going to rotate out, if you want to get some quick, healthy returns. And everybody's talking about the new darling on the market is Coinbase, and they'd want to just, you know, open up and then just watch it go. I mean, maybe you could. This would be one of the times where you could actually double your profits on traditional market space. Who knows? But that's not my play.
Maybe we're flipping back to traditional markets, right? Maybe the new short-term play is to kind of get into those MSTRs, those riots, coin and others. And take them for a ride up. Maybe that's what Coinbase does. Maybe it propels it.
Market's a mixed bag right now, though. Sorry, I'm just looking at Bloomberg. It's most industrials are up. Dow, NASDAQ, everything else is up.
People got a lot of.
It is also banks' earnings, so we'll see how that kind of pans out.
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing. The broader market right now at the open is up, both from energy, you know, energy, we have manufacturing, we have travel and leisure. I don't know how travel and leisure is up. Maybe they're preparing for lockdowns, but we have cruise companies that are actually pulling great returns. MGM Resorts, for instance, trailing 12 months up 150%, and that's during COVID. So we'll see.
Let's take a look real quick.
You know, Rob, one of the things I wanted to get from your side, you know, you deal with a lot of retail investors, relatively new ones in crypto, is do you think that this is going to provide easy exposure for Bitcoin for people. Do you feel that mutual funds will be forced out of necessity and demand to buy into shares of, say, Coinbase, just to get that exposure for their customers?
Well, I think it's like this. Like, I never thought that people in crypto would really be interested in any kind of stocks, but a lot of people that on the show or on the subscribers, they'll talk about how they own VGX, and they'll also own, you know, the Voyager stock. So I'm like, well, that makes sense. And then we talked about yesterday about, you know, how this direct listing IPO for Coinbase. I know it's a direct listing. I get it. Don't scream don't yell at Alex right now. I understand. So like, this may just lead into like all the people that are on the sidelines in the traditional market to go, okay, well, I can't get exposure to Bitcoin. Like, you know, you have like a Dennis O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, who's like, I need an ETF because that's only what makes sense to me. So if you have something like this, it's kind of like an indirect exposure. So a lot of the money that we see, like, look, what we're at, Alex, 2.2 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency.
Right here, we are at $2.2 trillion.
Yeah, so I mean, everybody thinks that's awesome. That's not awesome. I mean, it's good. It's not bad. But I mean, look at all the different money that is in play just in the stock market. And you're looking at 98 trillion or something like that in the real estate market, 280 trillion in the derivatives market. You're looking at 500. I mean, half a quadrillion. So all the money is just sitting there. So these types of things, when you get a Coinbase listing, this is people who don't understand a nano ledger, don't understand really Coinbase, don't understand these different exchanges, but they can say, I like that, I'm gonna invest in that. I think that's where the big money goes into until an ETF comes. I know some people will say ETFs don't matter, but I think maybe they might.
Yeah, and listen, we're still waiting for this public debut here. Look at these numbers. Implied valuation, 65.3 billion. Those are some big numbers. What do you think this means, Rob? What is your feeling on the trend as far as we know Kraken has gotten their banking license in Wyoming, second one to do so. How fast do you think they file an S1, or do you think they wait?
They'll be tripping over their own shoes to get in there. Like, you know what? But this was what I was listening to smarter people than me, which is not hard, by the way. So that's why I listen to Trade the Chain. And Ryan said, a pretty good thing yesterday when he was talking about everything that's going on. He's like, look, he goes, all these different exchanges are watching this super closely. And as soon as this really takes off, they're like, boom, let's do it. Because why not, right? Why wouldn't you go all in? Unless you're a little shady and you don't want to deal with all the SEC filings and whatnots. So yeah, I think this is going to be huge for people moving forward, especially exchanges.
And I'm still showing and not available on the ticker on Robinhood here. So we'll see where it goes. With this direct listing, Rob, does this make you want to go into a correlated stock such as Voyager Digital or a Riot blockchain or an MSTR? Does it find it compelling to you at all?
So here's the thing. Everybody on my channel knows I'm not a big fan of Coinbase. Initially, everybody loves Coinbase, right? But then when you get into things, you're like, wow, that's some really super high fees. There's a reason why it made so much money. And then you start to realize that there's other options out there, and that's where I was. But then I also went one level further, and just like what Danish talked about, or maybe it was you, I just stepped in. Everybody likes simplicity, right? Simplicity really breeds mass adoption. So even though those fees are pretty outrageous on Coinbase regular, Coinbase Pro, not so much, that it will lead to more mass adoption. So for me personally, would I invest in the Coinbase? Well, if it makes money, it makes sense. Let's just be honest. We shouldn't be emotional about the whole thing. So yeah, sure. But I don't own Coinbase. I don't think no one owns it yet. But I do own Mara. And if I would have been smart and listened to CJ, I would have owned Riot early enough, but I didn't. So yeah, I could definitely see that. And then, so Danish, how much money are you going to put into Coinbase today?
I've gone from, I used to be like a traditional fund manager, only doing stonks. Um, but I'm like full on. I'm like 99% crypto right now. So I don't know if I'm going to put anything in Coinbase. I think Coinbase, how it's going to work in my mind, or what I would see is the stock will fluctuate directly as the crypto market does. As
Sure.
Bitcoin goes up, Coinbase stock will go up, sort of thing. So when I can easily buy the underlying, I don't think I need the top level ticker, right? Because I'm also not a U.S. citizen, so it's just easier for me. But generally, yeah, for those people who can't get exposure to all the underlyings, I think Coinbase will be the ticker for them to go into, especially when it gets added to some ETFs and it gets added to other tech sector ETFs specifically, sort of thing. I think it's going to be great for it, but I think given I can get exposure to the underlyings directly, I think I'd rather go for that, which is a riskier move, of course, obviously, because that market is, what is it? What are we at? 2 trillion right now? No, not trillion.
2.2 trillion.
Yeah, 2.2 trillion versus the rest of the global equity markets is like a multiple of that. So volatility is more in the underlying and less on the top level. So it's a riskier move, but
But I mean, it's paid off pretty well for us, right?
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad.
I mean, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
All right.
I mean, I should have put everything into Doge. I was
just saying, like, every time I'm like, oh, you know what? I should buy some Doge. And I like did, I should buy some here. And I miss it every time. And then it's up 50% the next day. I'm like, this is just, how do I miss this every time?
It's easy because you can probably listen to me on my show.
But,
yeah, man. So, I mean, look.
How do you think this makes the bank feels, right? So I'm watching.
Oh, that's a great question.
On my screen to the left, I'm watching EPS reports for Goldman, okay, and JP Morgan estimates and Wells Fargo. How do you think the Jamie Dimons and of the world are feeling right now with Coinbase going so big with a valuation on the street after they defied Bitcoin for so many years?
Well, hey man, it to me, it all comes down to this. When you're wrong, just say you're wrong, and then just go, you know what? If I can't beat you, I got to join you. I'll jump on this train all day long. But here's what's crazy though about banks is that I did this. Did you see that little article, that piece? It was about HSBC, how they were shutting down different accounts, and not people who were buying crypto, but people who are even getting into things related to crypto, like MicroStrategy. They shut down an account. So you got an HSBC, you've got a US bank, you've got some other banks out there. Because when I did this story, a lot of people came and said, my bank, this, and this. It's crazy how those banks don't get it. And then you got other banks who are like a JP Morgan, who was like, I'm going to fire everybody who does it, right? Now they're like, we're all on board. And then you got like a Wells or whichever other banks are on board. The ones that don't get it, I always say this, are going to get blockbustered. They're going to just let everything go by. Technology is going to go, and that's it. And then the ones that say, we get it, we're going to custody, we're going to allow you to exchange it, like the banks that are being brought up in Wyoming, those are the ones that are going to flourish. And that's really how it goes. That's my opinion. Danish, you tell me how wrong I am.
No, same thing. I was so peeved at that HSBC thing. Like, I don't know if it was like 100% true or if it was just made up or whatever. Let's assume it was, right? Like, I've seen the screenshot of people's accounts being closed, rotated around. But it was always like, oh, somebody sent it to me, sort of thing. But even if it's true, I think I was there when HSBC got fined $8 billion. I think it was like 15 years ago when they were caught laundering money for the cartel.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then after that, they're like, "Hey, listen, we're going straight. Don't worry about that." Turns out they did not, and they still continued laundering money, and then they got fined again, right? So HSBC is known to be this bastion of money laundering in the traditional space, and I think for them to kind of classify GBTC or cryptocurrencies as illegal, it's just kind of hypocrisy to the highest order. And I think coming from, Coinbase indicated to open at 340.
What?
Oh, wait, 3 o'clock and 40 minutes or $340?
$340. That's what Bloomberg just said. Coinbase indicated to open at $340.
I will say Robinhood has put down a market cap within their app of $65 billion. We'll see if that adjusts, but if that's the case,
The opening market cap though.
yeah. So I mean, Bloomberg is announcing what right now?
Bloomberg is $340. So that's up about $100 from where the opening was.
Does that mean my my $275 limit buys are not getting filled this morning?
They might wick down.
Let's take a quick look over here. This is what we got going on for the synthetic Coinbase shares over at FTX. We're $525, looking for those to adjust to get in line with what the pricing on the direct listing will be. So be curious to see how that goes. Another one, Voyager Digital took a retraction this morning on their stock. We've rebounded slightly up to $24.29. So it's interesting to follow these guys as well as this listing process goes on its way.
Nice.
Not too shabby. Hey, so
we're still waiting for a time. We're still waiting for a listing time. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, here's a pretty good question. This is from Sam Quinn. He goes, hey, how do you guys see zero fee decentralized exchanges like WooX launching in June affecting Coinbase long term, or just decentralized exchanges in general? How do you see this affecting the price moving forward?
You talking about like layer 2 technology on DEXs or
just decentralized exchanges in general? Like, do you see this would actually cut into Coinbase at some point, or like not really?
I don't think the landscape for trading is going to change any bit now that Coinbase is public. I think it'll relatively stay the same. What I do really like about this listing, Rob, is the fact, and this is probably one of the biggest things in my mind for the short term, is now that we have a major exchange such as Coinbase, which you can garner so much, they have so much data on how crypto works, volatility works, user thought process works, is that now that they're going to be fully married to the government, so to speak, as a public company, I think this accelerates products like ETF listings for Bitcoin and things like that, because now you have the regulators able to peek under the covers, so to speak, and see what they were scared of and possibly figure it out much easier, much quicker.
That makes sense. Danish, what do you think? DEXs?
Rob, I think your microphone is down.
What?
Very whispery.
Yeah, you're very whispery.
Oh, I'm a whispery guy. Hold on, let me try something real quick. Oh, this is why. I tried to use this microphone and it didn't work out too hot. Let me just try this one. Okay, how's that?
Oh, you're perfect. You're perfect.
All right. So Danish, what do you think? DEXs matter, don't matter?
I think DEXs matter right now. I think I have this like weird feeling that there's going to be like a large scale regulatory upheaval of how DEXs perform. And how they're, you see markets really frothy right now. Everybody's like launching a DEX, everybody's launching an IDO, like a launch pad or whatever sort of thing.
Or tomato coin. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's going to be, something's going to have to calm it down. I think DEXs, especially things like Uniswap, for example, can operate right now in a DAO way, but I think there will be some sort of regulatory upheaval that will, kind of bring about a clamp down on DEXs, I think.
Yeah, makes sense. I think personally, and I think people are just getting into the idea of Coinbase and what that all is and how cryptocurrency works. I always assume people are like me. It's my biggest downfall, right? I always think people know exactly what's going on in crypto. Oh, you don't know about Bitcoin, or you don't know about Tron, you don't know about Bitcoin Cash or whatever else. And then when I talk to people, like, I don't know what that is. And then, so Coinbase, this is why I agree with, who said it? It was so simple. I think it was Ryan. Yeah, Coinbase is great because it's so simple, and that's what people go to. Not that it's great on the fees, but hey, whatever.
I think the simplicity, that's what Coinbase has done really well. It takes literally 2 seconds for somebody to sign up to Coinbase and buy their first crypto. And they've like spent years doing that. I think they haven't messed around with listing alts and doing all sorts of weird products and all that. Like, you know, they're just like, listen, let's just make the user experience way better, and focus on getting people on ramped, and off ramp, of course. But have done that really well. And I think like things like, you know, they have those weekly or monthly crypto buys that you link your bank account to, and you can easily just, you know, every month you designate a certain amount of dollars and people continue buying it, sort of thing. So I think those are the sort of things they've done really well. And I think this is just going to be a culmination of all that effort as soon as the market opens.
Yeah, and let's see what it opens at. Alex, what are we at now? 375?
Well, we are now down. This is the Coinbase FTX synthetic shares, and they are now down to $475.99.
Yeah.
As well as we have VGF down to $24 in their public stock. And look at this chart, folks, on Bitcoin. We are descending pretty decently right now in short term.
That's weird.
Ahead of this.
Yeah, why would people? So here's a question then. Are people selling Bitcoin to get into Coinbase? Or are they just selling just because it's all-time highs and they want to get out for a bit?
That's what we were talking about earlier. In my mind, I think we've got people will sell Bitcoin just to enter into Coinbase, obviously because it's a big moment sort of thing. Also for the memes, but I think the multiple is higher on Coinbase right now, right? So if it opens at 340, chances it hits 600 are fairly high. So you 2x easily, versus if you're in Bitcoin, you're moving up by 2% or 2% down, sort of thing. So I think expected gains in Coinbase are higher intraday. So I think people will sell, go into coin, come back with their profits and back into Bitcoin.
Yeah,
that's real deal. Hopefully they don't live in the United States, because that's a lot of capital gains tax.
I know.
But I mean, it is 2x though, right? I'm okay with paying 30, 20, well, 37% plus 10% if I'm in California, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're making 100%, you can pay 40% for taxes and keep the rest.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like banks getting these fines. Like, we'll pay $1 billion if we can make $2 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
It's as we go through these charts, it's interesting real quick. One, folks, we're still waiting for a time on the first shares to be traded on Coinbase, ticker coin. But you can see BTC is down pretty well consolidated for the short term. Here we're looking at the chart for Coinbase synthetic shares on FTX, down sharply from $625 earlier this morning. This is the 1 minute chart. You have Monster or MicroStrategy, MSTR down about $100 from $880. You have Voyager crypto broker. Their stock is down from 27, just over 27.50 to 23. So this is interesting. Again, yeah.
Crazy times, man. So maybe that sentiment is all bullish for Coinbase. Good for them.
Maybe. I mean, even looking at the short-term crypto sentiment, it is bearish on the hourly. It is neutral to bearish on the daily. And look at those one hour charts here. They're all slipping down. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens if the crypto market affects the trading price of Coinbase when it opens. It would also be interesting. I wonder if they have the power to say, "Hey, listen, crypto markets are down today. We're gonna save this for a green day in crypto."
Yeah, interesting. Look at Dogecoin, number 10.
Let's check out Doge here. Dogecoin number 10. I mean, a lot of people look at that hitting up to almost 14 and a half cents earlier. It's interesting what this meme point has done.
What's the sentiment on Doge on TTC?
Right now, the sentiment on Doge is bearish in the 1 hour, very bullish on the daily. So that's a very interesting thing. And we can see over here, we have relative tweet volume is up 630%, not surprising, as well as almost 900% in relative trading volume increases. So
I told you, even Guy Fieri was tweeting about Dogecoin.
Why?
What the hell?
Why?
Near a flavor town, I don't know.
What?
The mayor of Flavor Town.
Isn't he supposed to be cooking cheeseburgers or something in diners and dash or?
Open Twitter. Let's go to his Twitter. He's got this like really cheesy photo of himself.
Oh, really? How do you spell his name here?
GUI.
Say it again. GUI.
FIERI.
There it is, right there. Look at that.
Let's see this.
Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, there you go. At Guy Fieri.
Flavor Town. Nice.
Go down. There you go. That's it.
Going out to the moon. Dogecoin.
Click on that photo.
Look at
that. So that's why it went up so much. It wasn't Elon Musk tweeting.
Yeah, I know.
Scary.
You're telling me the Dine and Dash guy is the one blowing up Dogecoin's order books today? Interesting.
Yeah, look at his following, right? His following is probably not the average crypto person that knows what's going on. I bet like his following is probably more towards people who are yet to buy their first shitcoin.
Or people who like.
I mean, look at this: 37,000 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so take that and put like maybe they put $500 in a Doge today. That's not a bad movement.
Oh my gosh. Well, Doge, there it is. Keeping an eye out here on the synthetic Coinbase shares on FTX, $459, down from $626 or so. We still are waiting word on when Coin will start trading. So we have CNBC is talking about other stuff right now. But that's about, I don't know, man. I don't know. How about NYDIG? Did you see the NYDIG news on $100 million raised?
What was that was with more insurance companies, right? 2 more insurance, like Liberty Mutual and a couple other ones. So that's just another story of, old school traditional type of players getting into the game. And those are the guys I think that aren't going to sell anytime soon, right?
No.
They've done their research. They're going to put it on their books and hold it. Now, other places, not so much. But yeah, NYDIG, those guys, well, Alex, you know those guys. Dan, you probably know them. They're like the adults in the space, right?
Yeah, I know Dig. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, this long-term play that they've gone to the old guard. They've taken the insurance company money, which, like you said, isn't going anywhere, and have basically placed very long-term bets on Bitcoin. So, when an insurance company doesn't like to trade in and out on positions like that. So it's interesting to see that they have a lot of conviction. I'll put it to you that way, which should make the market feel safe or a sense of security.
Imagine if you're like, old time, player in the game or some kind of old corporation. You're like, man, maybe I should be doing the same thing. And before you know it, how many companies get Bitcoin on their ledger or on their treasury? Oh, and here's another rumor I heard that is unsubstantiated, but I will just say that because I'm nothing but a great big shill. So Walmart, I heard that Walmart's going to put like $1 billion on their treasury or start to do something as far as Bitcoin goes. I keep seeing it and seeing it and seeing it. Just a big rumor. And I'm just going to, everybody out there watching this, just a rumor, probably isn't true. But man, just imagine if it was.
I mean,
is there
if
enough
that-
Bitcoin? Is
that
there
were
enough?
to happen-
Huh?
If that were to happen, that'd be pretty epic.
Crazy. Imagine if they accepted Bitcoin. They accepted Bitcoin at Walmart.
Okay, so part of me is
Well, that
also,
wouldn't work actually, but whatever. Huh?
you know, we do know that the obviously this is the bigger vision, right? That everybody spends and receives Bitcoin, and that's what it was meant for, you know, transactions and peer-to-peer cash, etc. But some guys actually say, you know, that's the top. When you peak out at Bitcoin being transacted by everyone, I think that's when you reach peak Bitcoin value, and from there it's only down, because right now it's at 64. It's still a store of value. Then it will change from store of value to means of transaction, I think.
Well, isn't that the whole point of Bitcoin Cash? And everybody explodes in the comments section. How dare you? How dare you bring up Bitcoin Cash?
How dare you?
First of
How
all-
dare you bring up Bitcoin Cash?
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Bitcoin Cash. This is, I mean,
Doing
it's
well.
it's 778. It was up to 800 and well over $800. And what's interesting about Bitcoin Cash is about a week ago, I was transferred some Bitcoin Cash right. No, let's see here. No, it was right around the 640 mark. That would have been when I stole some from Donish.
That was from Donish, probably at the craps table.
That is probably the best dinner bill you've ever paid, Alex.
See.
Well, you know, that dinner bill was paid to me in a couple of different currencies. One was Bitcoin Cash, which has done very well for me since that dinner bill, and the other one was Voyager tokens, VGX. So I got to store some extra baggage. Let's see what we got. CNBC, still no word. Bloomberg, any new predictions? And just
Nothing on Bloomberg yet.
if you could reiterate the last prediction on price from Bloomberg, Danish.
$340.
$340, folks. NASDAQ giving it a price of an indicative open price yesterday of $250 with a $65 billion valuation. We now have some analysts saying that this could go to 200 billion in valuation when trading starts. We will see.
Hey, Ryan was very adamant that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, I saw in the comment section somebody mentioned about Facebook, and hey, we are remembering the Facebook IPO. I remember the Facebook IPO. I was holding Facebook and watching it drop from the open. I did give up hope on Facebook. I sold it, you know, for less than its opening price. It did turn around and show everybody that, you know, screw you. But this is a difference between an IPO and a direct listing. So Coinbase is doing a direct listing where no new shares have been minted. This is putting out existing shares to the public. There are no investment banks acting as book runners. So nobody, unlike an IPO where book runners, investment banking syndicates, pre-sell shares at IPO indicative prices to various wealth managers and stuff for their clients. Right. This was not the case here. So nobody has large bags to sell at the open who just bought these shares the last couple months. Now, when it comes to employees, I am not very, I don't know how Rule 166 works with a direct listing, and what that is the restrictions that employees have. So in other words, there is going to be certain restrictions, 90 days to 12 months. You're not going to have Brian Armstrong be able to dump $6.5 billion worth of shares onto the market, or other employees. So it'll be interesting to see how the stock reacts, because the way it should react is if it does open at $250, it should rise based on demand. and it will only drop with those new stock acquirers from the listing time who decide to sell profit. So I don't foresee a Facebook style IPO happening where it dips off the front, because there's actually no reason or no way how it can dip off the line.
Well, I think the rule, it's 144, right?
144, sorry.
Yeah. So 144 says that only 1% can be sold. So that's the entirety, outside of other lockups.
Oh,
That's probably 1% of the entire company that can be sold off at open, which isn't that bad, because 1% of the company valued at 6.5 is, 65 is 6 billion of sell pressure. If that, at something that's opening at 340 sort of thing. So 1% can be sold, the rest in 90 days, exceptions, etc. But I don't think this is a stock where Andreessen or A16Z or anybody is like dumping their 1% just to take profit.
I agree. And let's welcome CJ. CJ, crypto analyst from marketrebellion.com. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Oh, thank you for the invite. I was just kind of lurking here in the shadows for a minute.
what's up, man?
But what a historic day for Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency markets. I think something that's really interesting is that this might not just be a retail-driven asset right now. I think the Cathie Woods of the world and the ARK Invests of the world are really looking at this Coinbase direct listing as a potential to have exposure to the crypto space without having custodial solutions that they require for Bitcoin and other assets. I think that's something that is not being completely emphasized.
Correct. No, it's like, that's the thing. Like, it's when ARK Invest kind of piles into Coinbase, and I think that's what we were talking about earlier, that this is a great way for people, like, you've got GBTC, which people kind of pay a premium for to get in, etc. But that's just Bitcoin, right? Coinbase gives you exposure to Ethereum, to Bitcoin Cash, to XRP, well, not XRP anymore, but it's XRP, like a bunch of, it's like a very good exposure to that entire $2 trillion market. And I think that's the bigger play here, where when Cathie kind of comes in and says, I'm going to put it in my ARK funds, that's going to be stellar.
A couple things interesting right now is, and just CJ was watching before he came on, but here we have Bitcoin, which is doing a little bit of a retracement since earlier this morning. Here we have Coinbase's synthetic shares being traded on FTX, which have consolidated from $625 down to $475, probably in order to try to get aligned with what the opening trades will be on NASDAQ. We have other sector stocks here like MSTR, which have gone down from 860 to 785. We have Voyager, which I would assume a great play if you want to get exposure to this direct listing and other companies, down from $27.50 to $24. And we have Bit Digital falling sharply from $19 to as low as $16.80 this morning. CJ, from your point of view, why is the market doing this on the equities on a broader scale for Bitcoin exposed companies, as well as looking at the sentiment? We're just bearish right through the hourly and neutral through the daily, when we have one of the most anticipated crypto IPOs coming to market today, or direct listings.
Yeah. I mean, from a technical perspective, we are hitting a TD sell 9, or we have hit a TD sell 9 on the 4-hour on Bitcoin. And I could see that leading into some profit taking across the market. But in terms of like down pressure, I think it's just kind of a temporary type thing. Like I am in agreement with you, Alex, in the sense that this won't be kind of like a Facebook repeat, in the sense that, we'll just get a massive sell-off. I do think that we're just seeing some profit taking here to start the day before, a lot of people can actually actively trade this direct listing on Coinbase.
What's the TD on the daily?
I think it's still in the mid range. Let me check.
You can share CJ too if you want to go over the chart real quick. What's happening?
Yeah, be good.
And Nick Mancini, our Chief Community Officer and Research Analyst over at Trade the Chain, has joined us. Thank you, Nick.
I am back. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Back again to watch all these prices go crazy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, still an amazing breakout yesterday and getting a little bit of a spinning top candle here. Still pretty neutral on the 5 when we look on the daily. The thing that I was referencing earlier is just this TD9 that we're kind of correcting on the 4 hour. And this is kind of a thing that's been pretty universal across the board on most crypto assets. So it's not a huge surprise just to see a little profit taking following that. But I do think we're going to resume the bullish trend in the overall, like daily and weekly perspective.
Definitely. I think that's actually pretty good. The fact that there's a sell-off right now, I think that just sets us up to restart the TD process again as soon as we kind of get through this opening market. So,
Do you think this will be like a quick play? Drop a bunch of your cryptocurrency, take some profits, roll it into Coinbase, watch it just go crazy, and then boom, get out? Or you think people are going to be like, we're in it for the long haul, like what CJ was talking about with ARK Investment?
I think we'll have both. I think there'll be like a big sector which will hold it. There'll be the moon boys that'll hold it to go from 340 to $1,000 or whatever sort of thing. I think, and then obviously they're the punters who will say, okay, let me just 2x this and roll it back into Bitcoin. But I think a vast majority, I think, will most likely hold it, take some profit, rotate that back into Bitcoin, assuming the ones trading and accessing this also have access to Bitcoin directly.
This is exciting. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I might even actually buy some. Who knows?
Yeah.
I got limit orders in, Rob.
You beat me to it.
Just to update everybody who's joining in, the trading has not begun on Coinbase on NASDAQ yet. What you're looking at right now is the synthetic shares of Coinbase being traded on FTX, which have retracted from about $625 down to $473. We have a NASDAQ set and open for the Coinbase shares yesterday at $250, giving it a market cap of 65 billion. Donish has alerted us that Bloomberg not so long ago gave it an indicative price of 300. What was it, Donish?
$40.
$340. So my take is on the FTX chart here that you're looking at, that share price is looking to align with market open, and we'll see how that goes. But just across the board, we're seeing other crypto related stocks such as Voyager and such as Bit Digital down for the morning, as well as Bitcoin. So,
Jerome J. Powell is supposed to speak at 12. They could be just waiting till after to see how the market reacts to things, but I don't know.
That'd be funny. That'd be interesting to see what Powell's going to say.
I know, right?
Hey, just so you know, we're going to put a bunch of money out there and just more quantitative easing, and also we're going to ban this, and this.
Sorry, we're banning crypto.
so good. That'll be the ultimate rug pull. Hey, before we
imagine that would suck so bad.
That's not going to happen. Good luck doing that. Hey, real quick, before we go on, Alex, I want to say congratulations, because I think there's two things to congratulate you on. First of all, you've got over 2,000 people watching this live stream. I think that's probably one of the bigger ones that you've ever done. And then second of all, look at the eclectic group of people that you have here, right? I mean, you got Nick over here, head of research at TTC. You got CJ Reichel from Market Rebellion for all the technical analysis you ever want to know. You got Danish Chowdhury over here from Bitcoin.com, from the actual exchange.
Nothing of substance to say, just for the love.
And then you got
Rob from Digital Asset News.
Yeah, I'm like the weakest link, but anyhow, I mean, it's a great eclectic group, and good job on getting this all together, and good job on the live stream. So if you guys really want to get like some great insight, subscribe to TTC. I do. And they've always got good people on.
Oh wow, this is pretty great actually. You know what would be interesting if they launched their own stonk on Coinbase, but I don't know if they can do that.
Oh, hey, you know what? Binance. I heard that Binance is going to list the.
Yeah, they have synthetics.
And
Yeah,
So
we're gonna be listing those soon as well. So,
no kidding. When are you going to come to America, Damage?
dude, we're coming in hopefully 2 months.
I'm holding you to it. You guys heard it here first.
Yeah,
Bitcoin.com, the exchange is coming to America finally, getting up there.
hopefully 2 months. We should be there soon. We'll allow registrations ASAP.
Look at this. Here we got it. Indication reference price 250. Indication $340 for its first trade. Still waiting here to see what happens, but this is interesting. I mean,
Alex, I've got a question for you guys who may have been in the markets a little bit longer. So we're seeing Bloomberg, I think, first referenced 370 as the indication price. Now we're seeing 340. FTX is showing, I think 469 right now at the time of me saying this for Coinbase futures. It's about $130 price discrepancy that we're seeing right now between the futures market and what Bloomberg is telling us. So is there a good answer to this? Could it be just synthetic futures are, still very experimental? Is Bloomberg trying to just push the price down with kind of doing some artificial sentiment? What's the likely culprit for this?
CJ Danish.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I got nothing.
Are we talking about the FTX versus the Bloomberg?
Yeah, why does Bloomberg say 340 when FTX is showing synthetic futures at 468?
Because there's no parity, right? Like there's the synthetic tokens that these guys have launched aren't there's no price parity. Like there's no indicator of where it could be, where it could not go. It's basically demand driven. How these synthetic assets work is basically there's a company in Europe called Digital Assets AG. They're the pioneers in this, and so they wrap stocks into tradable assets and launch it on there. Although with FTX there isn't really like anything backing it right now. But the disparity is mainly because there isn't really like Bloomberg can indicate a price based upon what's actually on the floor, the demand that they're seeing in the traditional markets, versus FTX is basically basing the price on demand on the exchange, right? Yeah. So there's always that difference, and it will always be a difference because your synthetic market that's trading FTX is especially on FTX, that's a non-US exchange. I mean, they have FTX US, but the synthetic is trading on non-US part of it, which is a whole different environment compared to what's in the US. So I would definitely look at what Bloomberg and CNBC is saying, because that's what's on the floor and that's what traditional guys are going to be buying.
Interesting.
That is very interesting. So I guess different. I mean, talking about like a literal free market, we're looking at two different kind of markets trading live. Well, I guess we can't really look into what Bloomberg's seeing, but two different types of clients, right? I mean, FTX is predominantly retail, probably some crypto rich people, love volatility, love the speculation. And then Bloomberg is probably a larger crowd, bigger bags, longer history in the market, and probably trade a little bit differently.
Yeah, Bloomberg is probably indicating what brokers and most guys on the floor are willing to lift the open at right now. And this is an indicator of like what's actually going on. Obviously, the floor is all electronic now. There's no people shouting or anything, but that's actual demand by the brokers that's coming through based on what retail wants to buy, right? So retail it flows its orders through a broker like Interactive Brokers, E-Trade, or whatever, and that's what NASDAQ or the guys on the floor are seeing, and so that's where the indicator is. And again, FTX is retail, but that's synthetics on the non-US side of things. So that's a bullish indicator of non-US demand, I suppose.
Interesting.
Yeah, huge demand. Look at that.
I'm actually putting another market limit buy order in for a coin myself, full disclosure. So I'm hiding behind the screen right now as I do this.
Alex, I'm gonna quick call. I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Sounds good.
Alex, what's your limit order? So everybody can copy you.
Everybody, I don't know if everybody's going to want to copy me, but
not financial advice. Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. I have limit orders set from obviously the $250 mark. I'm up to the 275. I have them up to the 300. We'll see which ones get filled at what spaces. And maybe, hey, maybe I don't get any filled. Maybe this thing
Just
rotates so fast out of the starting gates that, the brokers can't fill my orders. And then I'll just be a sorry little pup while it goes to $1 million, but who knows?
no, man. I think no, that's a pretty good play. I do think it's. I mean, CJ and Nick? What's your predictions for this right out the gate? Like in the first hour, what's it going to do?
Oh man, it's really unpredictable, but I think it's going to be incredibly bullish to start. And then I
Yes.
think, kind of like what Danish said, there might be some people who are just looking to punt, make a quick return, take profit. Obviously, we'll get some kind of retrace after that.
Yes.
But in terms of like the long-term impact of Coinbase and their profitability and valuation relative to like the NASDAQ or the SIBO, I think they have some really cool differentiations between them and those traditional exchanges because they can generate revenue in new ways we haven't really seen before, like interest, like lending, and many, many others. But what about you, Nick?
I think as everyone can tell who's watching, I'm very much in agreement with CJ. I think it's going to be very hyper bullish. So I think once retail gets its pause on it, I think it's going to go blast off. And something that I was talking with one of my buddies about is we kind of landed on Snowflake on steroids and just kind of what happened when retail started trading that. And I mean, that was a double in it. I think just less than a few hours whenever Snowflake IPO'd. So I think once retail gets its clutches on it, like CJ said, a lot of punts, we'll probably see some profit taking, but I think we're going to see a lot of chop on the way up. People will be actively trading this all day. And then I think eventually it'll tucker out, probably, calm down a little bit, and people will start rotating those profits into probably some proxy Bitcoin plays on the stock market, but as well as large cap tokens that they can just, I guess, send into their Coinbase account, since we're kind of on that narrative. So
Awesome.
That's a really interesting point as well, because when we talk about all the other like blockchain related stocks like Riot and Mara and MicroStrategy, they're all down about 5% today to start the day. So I mean, what do you guys make of that going into the IPO or the direct listing, I should say?
Well, they had massive runs at the open, and overnight in some cases too, and then they dropped, which is double.
Okay, go through the charts while Nick talks.
Sorry, yeah, I just kind of popped in there, but
No, it's okay.
Yeah, all of these assets on the right side here, as you can see, Riot just kind of selling off. All of these have kind of sold off ever since the open.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, so what's the point of the big run up the day before, and then just to dump everything the day of, and then probably roll it into Coinbase? You know what I mean? Why not just take some profits and then just boom, just put everything in Coinbase, double or triple, like Donish was talking about, and then off you go.
I think it is a little bit of a buy the rumor, sell the news. Well, it's not a rumor in this case, but buy the lead up, sell the news. We saw a lot of unusual call buying on Riot yesterday, buying call options in large amounts. And I think that was some smart money or some large buyers, whatever they were doing. I'm trying to get into that trade early, and they may have sold on the open. I mean, it looks like that's kind of how price has been reflected ever since.
CJ, I think Riot made a big acquisition yesterday, or at least announced it. $517 million acquisition of the largest onshore American Bitcoin mining ops center or facility. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a $517 million cash and stock deal that they bought another company as of yesterday.
That's incredible, especially considering they already have around 6% of the collective network hash power. I mean, what a dominant force they're becoming.
Where are they located out of, Riot?
Great question. Let's check it.
Because if it's, don't say China. Everybody go crazy. Nah,
Castle Rock, Colorado.
That's what I thought. But aren't they like? Is it Riot? And they're in Colorado, but then they're incorporated in Nevada or something like that. Or was that Mara? I always get those two confused.
It's a great question.
But I mean, look, that's a lot of hash power. I mean, if you're going for 6% and you just put $500 million into something else, it's
Well, there's also been a big giant narrative, and this was a really random one that kind of popped up. Is like, so the narrative is take mining power or hash rate power away from the Chinese. The other one is like green energy mined Bitcoin as well. So I'm seeing people now talk about, a focus on companies investing in green energy infrastructure and things like that, and taking money away from China in terms of Bitcoin mining too. So with that, those two narratives coupled together create kind of hyper onshore. We're also seeing the narrative for green energy materials for things like electric cars and basically the electric economy that's coming. We're seeing a massive onshore push for green energy mining or green energy materials mining onshore, and we're even seeing a giant push for a lot of production of even chips onshore too. So this kind of onshoring narrative is coming all the way into blockchain and Bitcoin mining now, which can create some lucrative multiples, especially for people looking to open up investments to American and European investors who don't want to go overseas to help China with their Bitcoin mining.
Interesting play. Maybe if you're big in the stock market, maybe take a look at those green energy companies.
Yeah, MP. I think Chamath is in MP, and I have a little bit of that as well, full disclosure. But you can't not be bullish on someone mining the energies or the materials you need to make the electric car revolution. That is, all we're looking at right now. So
makes sense. All righty.
Yep. Still waiting.
Still waiting.
We got shares down of synthetic Coinbase stock over on FTX down for the morning. We have indicative pricing of 250, reference pricing at 250, but we have also realigned or adjusted reference pricing of about $340. So we are looking to see when this is going to start trading and what it does. This has been great discussion. I'm curious. I mean, I don't see it. I'm looking around at all the screens. I don't see any rumors of any time frame of when this is coming out. Whether it's a 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. I'm not seeing it. Any of you guys?
I missed it.
I don't know. We'll see.
No, I don't see anything. But I will say this: if you have no idea what a Coinbase is or cryptocurrency, and you're watching the news, and you look at that, and you're like, wow, a reference point, or opening at 250, and then they're looking at another point of 350. If you're looking at that, going, I don't know what this is. I need to take a look at this a little bit harder. This would be like this whole catalyst when we talk about old money and mass adoption. These are the days that we live for, because people are like, I don't know what that is, but I got to figure that out because that's a lot of money. I can't believe that's actually going to happen right now. I wonder how many fill orders there are right now in all the different platforms for stocks of coin to go through. Alex, I don't think you're going to hit your limit orders.
I don't think I'm going to hit my limit buy orders either. Now I'm a little disappointed. You kind of brought me down. So
that's my job on Wet Blanket. Just watch any of my videos.
You are a wet blanket. So I just go over with people. We're still waiting for a price or a time actually for the first trade to come across. We do have synthetics trading at, they're up to about $480. They were as high as $225 and as low as $460 on FTX for the Coinbase shares. So a little bit of a rebound, but generally across the board for any of these exposed stocks such as MSTR, Riot, BT, Bit Digital, all down, including Voyager Digital, which is the crypto broker, down to in the $24 range from 27. So it's interesting times indeed. I've never personally, since turning on CNBC at about 6 a.m. this morning, I've never seen CNBC cover Bitcoin cryptocurrency as much as they have today. Now, I get it's a direct listing, but I have to be honest with you. These guys have never sounded like fans of Bitcoin or crypto in general. And it's interesting how when the topic comes up, they don't cover it in depth like they would in equity. They kind of try to brush it off and get it out of the room as quick as possible. Now it's all the rage, right? So we'll see if this changes their tune. CJ, what do you think of the traditional market commentary personalities and their maybe newfound love or continued coverage of Bitcoin and crypto. We all know, you know, your boy John Najarian has been in crypto for a little while. He's on the halftime report at CNBC. But for the longest time, he was really the only pom-pom shaker over there.
I think he still kind of is, but one of them. Yeah, I don't watch too much CNBC, but what you showed earlier was really interesting in the sense that they referenced decentralized exchanges as potential competitors to Coinbase. I've never heard CNBC talk about decentralized exchanges before.
That's crazy.
So to
I
have,
mean, that's bringing out the fancy words in their opinion, you know?
yeah, it's nice to have some of that terminology kind of flow into the mainstream, because I think it's just going to become ever more prevalent as things like this continue to happen.
And you know, that begs the question. Rob brought it up earlier. Are DEXs really going to compete and fight for market share of exchanges like Coinbase or Kraken? Are they going to be able to take out of their bottom lines now that, you know, we have companies that are going to be recording EPS on a quarterly basis? Is that really a threat, or is it just a parallel way of doing things?
I see it more as a parallel. I think that those two can coexist. Obviously, we're going to need centralized exchanges for certain fiat on-ramps. I mean, I know there are crypto native and crypto idealists that will say, you know, we only want decentralized exchanges going forward. We want, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum to be the universal currencies behind that. But we still have governments to deal with, you know. It's not like they're just all being uprooted. And so therefore, we will likely always need centralized exchanges in a certain regard, not to mention they have the most power currently. And they do really good services for the most part. But, you know, there are certain instances where, you know, maybe you can't get a coin that's in your jurisdiction or whatever, and you go on to Uniswap, or it's new, or it's not even listed yet on a centralized exchange. So that's where I think decentralized exchanges will really play a nice role. But I mean, you got to have the fiat on-ramp in certain regards.
Yeah, that's right. Unless all of a sudden we start to, you know, everybody uses cryptocurrency for everything. This is what everybody tells me on my channel. Rob, you got to hold every cryptocurrency, because in 3 months, we're going to be using cryptocurrency at Circle K gas stations. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I go, look, you, just like you said, you got to have a fiat off-ramp. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't going to happen, you know, but at some point, but I think people think it's going to happen a lot faster, and I don't think it's going to really be there. That's just my thoughts.
The interesting part about stablecoins, one of my new favorite charts that I've been tracking is the rise of stablecoins with Bitcoin's cycles throughout the past. So I think like 6 to 8 years. Yeah. Like first cycle, 2013, 14, almost no stablecoins. Then you can see that there is an increase, and now we have just we have more stablecoin liquidity than there is Bitcoin market cap out there right now. Yeah. It's like the fact stable coins are needed for the growth of the industry, and you can see kind of how they've grown along with Bitcoin and the other large caps. It's quite fascinating. And I think, and I didn't listen to as many of the stablecoin investors back in 2017, 2018, because I was just like, why not just pump up Tether or pump up USDC? Why do we need so many? But as the infrastructure and the ecosystems grow, the more stable coins you have, the more different on-ramps you have to offer merchants a free market, different types of fee structures, different ways to serve their clients. I'm actually very bullish on that side of things. So I think it's a very fun part of the market, even though it's tough to make money as a retail trader.
Yeah, it's going to be needed. USDC for sure.
100%.
And Tether, after they got rid of, after everything kind of went all smoothly with their audit.
Yeah, XRP's got more lawsuit trouble than USDT does right now. So.
Well, I mean, what is up with XRP? Good for those guys who've held it since whenever, but I mean,
yes,
$1
for those guys.
Plus, that was a great run. Rob, I know you were feeling excited. Oh wait, no, you weren't, were you?
About what, the XRP thing or the Coinbase? I was. Well, CJ said it perfectly. He told me in one of the shows, he goes, you got to be aware of any asset that probably should stop or should really collapse that doesn't and actually survives and thrives. And that's exactly what happened with XRP. And it was all based on the community. And they really brought that thing back. And now with this, I know that yesterday, Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse, they set a motion to dismiss the lawsuit with the SEC. I don't think it'll go through, but these things are coming about. So maybe it just kind of brings everything together. But imagine if it does get dismissed, you're going to see XRP 2x and 3x. And that's what'll happen. That's just how it's going to be. That's how I see it anyhow.
All right, wow, that was a lot of bullish flavor coming from you on XRP. I mean, the crowd is going to like you again.
No, they still hate me. They still hate me because I sold all my XRP, and they're like, "Oh, you moron, you sold your XRP." I'm like, "Yes, I did sell it, but you understand, I sold it at 21 cents, and I took a massive loss, and I bought it right back. It was for tax reasons, and no one seems to understand that. You can't do wash trading in traditional markets, but you can do these things in crypto because it's a property as the government sees it. But yeah, XRP, man. I mean, who knows what's going to be the next big winner? That's what Nick's here for. He's Nick and CJ. I don't know what the next big winner is, but I just know that where things are going in the short term, and they're going to do pretty well.
Let me tell you something. Looking at the screen here, CNBC, that indication is now up to $350 from $340. We're $100 off the reference price originally set by NASDAQ yesterday evening. How does this play out at the open? Do you think, CJ? What do you think is going to go on in the first, let's call it 30 minutes of trading?
Just a lot of volatility. I mean, you remember when Bitcoin Cash first launched? Not trying to say this is going to be the exact same thing, but
Danish does.
There will be extreme volatility, in my opinion. But I do expect that we'll finally kind of settle down into a certain range after some profit taking does occur.
CJ, prices. Let's get some price predictions. Everybody loves those. Price predictions.
What do you think the top range is? Somebody raise their hand on what they think the top range of coin will be today.
Oof.
Overall market cap, I've stated I expect a tip.
Nick, break it down for the layman. The people want price per share.
All right, well, I got to do the quick math on that, but I do expect it to briefly tip over $200 billion as the tippy top of the movements potentially today or tomorrow.
You are talking $400+ per share. I believe 200 billion comes in around, I don't know the math, but off top of my head,
I would be close to like $700 a share, I think.
Whoa!
Oh my God.
Yeah, once retail gets their claws on it, because I mean, no one in their right mind on the, like what we were talking about with Danish, like on the floor right now is going to buy it up into a frenzy. I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to make their really intelligent buys and expect the retail crowd to just throw some crazy momentum behind it and just get the ball rolling and then take their profits. That's if you had the opportunity to get in early and plot with your buddies about what the retail crowd is going to do, that would be my first guess, is buy low, let them frenzy it up, and then come in, whale splash them to death.
How happy do you think this guy on the screen is right now? Ron Conway, one of the early investors in Coinbase. He
looks ecstatic.
Look at that. 300 million raised in 2018. I remember when they did that raise and did it for nothing, just to put it in the bank. They have over, I believe it's 240 billion in assets under management. Something ridiculous like that. 56 million users. Really absurd. And just to bring everybody up to speed real quick, we have no idea what's going on. We don't even know what we're doing. This is a direct listing of Coinbase, ticker COIN, onto the NASDAQ exchange. They have the ability, or regulators, exchange venues, and companies have the ability to dictate when exactly it goes open for trading. 9:30, it didn't. We're expecting the norm of what we see with traditional IPOs. Maybe at this point it's 11 a.m. So I suspect we may be not seeing any trading till about 1 p.m. this afternoon. Very much could be the case, just to get it past that lunchtime hour. Who knows? Also, it was a guidance open of $250. It now has an implied open of $350 when it does open. And a couple things. One is people reference the Facebook IPO. We don't think this is going to act like the Facebook IPO where it drops off from the beginning. This is not a traditional IPO where they're Wall Street book runners who sell these, pre-sell the shares ahead of time. So there's no one that's going to dump on you. I believe Rule 144 for any insiders who own it applies fully here. And I think the maximum amount allowed is about 1% of market cap. Also, there are circuit breakers, so I expect this highly volatile. Yeah, I mean, I expect it to what Nick was just saying. There's going to be a lot of demand, a lot of volatility. There are 3 circuit breakers that happen in sequence on the exchange, and I believe the first one is going to trigger at a 5% within a certain time period. So we actually stand a great chance with how popular this is coming out of the gate, that this stock could easily go and be halted when one of those circuit breakers gets triggered. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see.
That's the crazy thing about traditional markets and then the stock market. Like that can happen. And then, but in cryptocurrency, it seems like it only happens on Coinbase. No, I'm just kidding, but not really. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those weird things that happens. But here's the bigger question though. If you were a naysayer of cryptocurrency, and I mean, pick the industry. There's plenty of them to say. But when you're watching this, are you just getting that like sinking feeling? I wonder if this is what it was like for Blockbuster to watch Netflix go through its IPO in like 2002 or 3 or whatever it is, and go, holy smokes, we should have bought them a couple of years ago.
Well, who do you think's looking at this saying that?
If you take a look, who's looking at what's going on right here? I
think
a lot
I'm
of
getting
different
worried.
You know, if you look at what cryptocurrencies can do, well, banks, I think, would be the most obvious type of answer right there, right? And then look at all the different industries that it really could disrupt. I mean, everything from the mortgage industry to transportation to tracking. You're probably looking at this going, man, we really got to get on board of different aspects. That's just how I would be concerned. Because, I mean, even me as a business owner, small business, like I always look at what's the competition. I always think there's somebody behind me that's going to gobble up my market share. And here we are.
Do you think Jamie Dimon has ordered all TVs off of CNBC today?
I think that's a good one. That's a good one.
It's CJ, what's Bitcoin currently doing?
Still hovering around 63. Let me just pull up my chart and double check. Yeah, not much has changed. Just still hovering at that level. But I gotta say, it was a pleasure to be on with you guys. I gotta hop, but thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in a little bit for Trade the Chain this afternoon.
We will see you at Trade the Chain this afternoon, good sir. Thank you. It's always great to have CJ on. I like it when he goes over his charts, as does everybody.
Yeah, and then so real quick before CJ drops off, quick plug for me and CJ. He did a nice little episode with me yesterday where he went over the basics of TA. I want to say thanks so much. Those will be dropping in a segments today over on Digital Asset News and Dan Teaches Crypto. CJ, thanks so much for doing those videos.
You guys are great. Thank you so much. See you later today.
Just to recap the charts real quickly. I mean, here we have this is Coinbase shares, synthetic shares traded on FTX. They took a dip in the morning hours here down to 487 currently. We're getting a little bit of a rebound. Probably the market is self-aligning itself to what the open price is going to be on the listing. But overall, the sequence of events, the market in general for any Bitcoin exposed stock is down. MSTR down 786 from 865. Voyager Digital down from over 27.50 to 24.20. Riot is down to 55. Bit Digital down to 16 off its $19 high. And then Bitcoin down to currently at 63.1 off of its 64.7 range. So it's really interesting to see this down. Did anybody expect to see this down? Nick, did you expect to see this down from an analytical point of view, or were you looking for a big pump running into the listing?
So I'm sorry, I was checking out. I was doing some price comparisons for our research on BTC versus Coinbase. So are we talking about Bitcoin specifically?
Well, I mean, crypto market in general, as well as the Bitcoin exposed traditional equities.
Yeah, so all week I was expecting a run up until today. I think I was slightly off in my analysis this morning, maybe a little bit euphoric off of some recent gains overnight, but I thought that it would truly be kind of a buy the rumor and continue to buy the news type of deal. But that was more or less because I thought that people would be able to start buying Coinbase around 9:30 in the morning due to the direct listing. I did hear rumors that there may have been a delay in trade that we're seeing right now, meaning late morning, early afternoon. Looks like that was in fact the case. And I think that's what's kind of getting people skittish. So a lot of what has driven recent frenzies is A, massive amounts of liquidity driven by the Fed, but B, a huge wave of retail people coming to the party and placing trades very closely together, not systematic, and very in a predictable fashion that allows market makers, institutions, and other smart retail traders to play off of those moves. So because we had a massive run, and obviously runs don't last forever, and now we've got a lull in anticipation of probably the hottest IPO of 2021, if not the past 2 years. I think everyone's just kind of sitting on their hands right now. Don't know what to do. Take my profits. I need to protect it for sure because we've had a great couple of days. But once Coinbase starts going, that's a switch. It's literally a switch for these people, and I think they're going to start going. I think the frenzy, the feeding craze is going to start again. I know many people right now that are not touching the markets until Coinbase because they've been waiting all week for it. And I know people who are probably just staring at Bitcoin right now, waiting for the Coinbase to open so that they know how to react to the markets as well. So I think everyone is literally waiting, staring at the TV right now. CNBC viewership has to be, off the charts right now.
Yeah, they're not even showing traditional stuff. I don't think Jim Cramer's allowed in the studio currently.
But you know what?
He did tweet yesterday, pay me in Bitcoin, though. He did tweet that.
Yeah, which is a smart move, right? If he would have been paying in Bitcoin last year, I mean, it would have been huge. But I mean, this does bring up a good point. Like, everything's about ratings and eyeballs, right? So let's just say that right now MSNBC gets its highest ratings of the year. Do you think they're going to cover a lot more cryptocurrency related projects? You better believe it. Every day. So like just what Nick was talking about, like, and as these things start to really pop off, if this really explodes, I mean, we all know that 2021 is going to be a great year. But if we have, I mean, not just the fact that we had a halving last year, which usually leads us into an all-time high the next year, which is this year, plus all the different great projects that are coming out, plus all the infrastructure that has been built, plus all the institutions that are here, plus this Coinbase listing, and that really just pops up. I mean, this might even be bigger than the original bull run in 2013. Not financial advice, just putting it out there.
Rob, I've honestly been contemplating that as well, because everyone's been doing those comparisons of what the previous run percentage wise would look like overlaid on the current run.
I do that.
And I'm seeing a lot of if you look at on-chain activity, I think this run is more correlated to that 2013 run than the 2017 in my opinion.
That's crazy. You just saying that right there, that's insane. Because
it's one of those things I don't like voice too much because you start going down a rabbit hole it's tough to pull yourself out of. So I'm just kind of dropping it now for people to start looking at. But I am seeing much more similarities this run to what was the monster Bitcoin run back in 2013.
I think that's the general consensus. I mean, that's been the talk since about January, and it really it's the sensible way. So, I mean, listen, the only person on this channel who's alive in crypto in 2013 was Danish Chaudhry. You could tell by the gray beard. But you know, Danish, what was it like back in 2013 when you were on the street corner trading crypto?
Dude, I could walk into a store and buy crypto, like literally OTC, like literally over the counter in like this corner shop where the guy was selling me. No, I think the market was way different. It was so tiny. It was, I remember my first Bitcoin buy was like 60 cents. And then it goes up to like $1.10. You're like, oh, I doubled it. Then it goes down to 30 cents and you call it a scam and you sell the bottom. It was different. 2013 is when we hit that's when we hit $1,000 for the first time, right?
2013.
2013.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah.
2013. Because I remember I obviously kept buying Bitcoin, but I remember
No. Yeah, go ahead.
15, 20 bucks or something.
Yeah.
And I'm on the floor at BlackRock. And I'm looking at literally the time I'm looking at a Bloomberg screen right now. All of a sudden, Bitcoin pops up. And this lady's like, oh, if anybody's heard of this currency, you know, they used to use it on the Silk Road, blah, blah, blah. It's $70 now. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Sorry, I'm cursing on your thing. And everybody calls it bubble, everybody calls it like whatever. There's no other coins. There's like XRP. I remember buying my first XRP at that time, which was like 0.0009 cents. It was like nothing. It had just floated sort of thing. And then a few days calm down. It goes from like 70 to like 60 to 50. And next thing you know, the entire next week, it's like $200, $300, $1,000 peak. And then that's when I had like, I remember I was at a party with a few friends and everybody's talking about how they had like 20,000 Bitcoin and 1,500 Bitcoin here and there. And it's like $1,000 and everybody bought like penthouses and stuff like that and sort of thing. And then it kind of like subsided from there, but it was a smaller market then and it was like easier to be volatile. Now it's obviously far larger and the volatility is far less.
Before we go on,
yeah,
all great stuff, right? I just want to make mention, all this stuff that we talk about, these are all best case scenarios and not financial advice and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just bring it back because Nick brought up a good point. He goes, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of the, saying that it's going to be like 2013. So just real quick, everybody here, because traditional markets, do you think that the bear market is coming just like we had in 2018, just like we had in 2014? Do you think it's a bear market just for alts, or is it for alts and Bitcoin? And what do you think is going to happen? Because this is my opinion. My opinion is I think that these large institutions like the Mass Mutuals, like the MicroStrategies, like the Tesla, maybe will keep it around, but they're not keeping around Tron, and they're not keeping around Tomato Coin. Not that they're similar, but you know what I mean.
From Bloomberg, Coinbase indicated 355.
Wow.
Yeah.
355.
On that topic, I think so, and this is something that I've been kind of noodling around in my head, and I think I need to do a little bit more predictive analysis on it. But there was, I'm going to forget his name, but Ari is his name. He is the CIO of Block Tower. And I love his commentary on Twitter when he takes the time to write things out. And, as someone, he's been in the digital asset game for probably about double than I have. He runs a large fund. And his opinion, and it was the first time I'd seen someone admit this publicly, was that he literally said, I have no idea what will happen after this bull run. He said, in every single year prior, I could tell you with a solid amount of certainty that we will see a 60 to 80% drop, followed by, a 300 to 1,000% run every single year. This is the first time I truly do not know what will happen, because he says, Bitcoin math is not going to change. Bitcoin stock to order flow is not going to change. We still should be on that trajectory, but now we've got a lot of smart money in, and we've got ways to play off the chain. We've got a lot of derivatives. We've got futures. We've got, ETFs are popping up. We've got trusts. There's a lot more versatility in the investing nature, in the markets of investing in crypto. So, will we see 80% again? I think it's more likely than not. I mean, why would the math and the science and the investment nature of institutions coupled with retail, why would that change everything? I don't have a good answer for why that would happen. Therefore, that leads me to believe that we will see a similar cycle to previous ones, but I don't think it will be as severe. I think it may be more drawn out than what we saw in 2018. 2018 was quite a long bear run, and with a lot of volatility, we had a long lull. I think the next time around, it won't be as volatile, except for the top. The top will be steep. We all know that, but I think we're going to see a lot more chop and volatility throughout the bear cycle that could last for potentially, a 4-year cycle this time around, as institutions grip hold and, the spars with the retail crowd that have really driven the gains for the past decade or so.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a long drawn out bear market, less volatile, but long drawn out. I think there's a lot more. I think there's wider, bigger indicators and risks to the crypto market now. The moment Michael Saylor comes and says, "Hey, we had to sell some Bitcoin because our balance sheet was going down," that's when you see like an entire red candle go down. So that's when you enter like a bear market or everything. The moment Coinbase gets into trouble, then you see Bitcoin kind of go down. So I think that some of these things have become systematic to the industry, like Tesla putting it on its balance sheet. I think MicroStrategy putting it on its balance sheet, Coinbase going public. I think a lot of this traditional crypto stuff has been intertwined. So I think it needs to, I'm hoping that whatever happens on one or the other, the volatility kind of is less than we've seen before. Because this correlation we haven't really seen like 4 years ago. There wasn't like, everybody's like, oh, institutions are coming, nobody knew what was happening. One tweet would drop you guys or pump it sort of thing. I think now it's actually institutions are here, like there's more intertwined traditional markets and crypto. So I think we would experience bear, but not like the same, 40% drawdown and 10% drawdown every other day sort of thing.
I can see it. Alex?
Yeah, no, I'm cruising. I agree with most of what's said. I think what's going to happen, in my opinion, when this bear market or this bull market runs its course, I feel that course is going to begin to trickle in late November into December. I know that some feel it's a January, February thing. I think it's going to be before the end of the year. I think the correction is going to be steep and sharp. I'm looking for 40 to up to 60, 65% correction. And then I'm looking for I would say a 36-month to 40-month bear cycle before the next run.
Is
and that would put us in line historically with what's happened over the course of time.
Is that Bitcoin in general, or is that altcoins? Or are you talking about everything?
Well, I think it's going to start at the top. So it's going to be Bitcoin to begin with, and then it's going to have the trickle down effect where it's going to just let the market bleed out as a whole, as it's done in the past. And, it's the way the market self-corrects itself, cleans itself as it goes into that bear cycle. I think what we've seen for the last 2 months and what we're going to see over the course of the next 6 months is typically what's happened. Everybody, hey, altcoin season, this is great. What you're seeing a lot of during these multi-week cycles in the market now is when Bitcoin has a rapid increase, you're seeing altcoins slow down or retracement because that's the money is going into the upward bullish run of the Bitcoin. When Bitcoin has a consolidation phase, you see an upward trend of the altcoins because people are, taking profits and spreading it amongst the alts. And so that's why a lot of times you'll see inverse uncorrelated trading between both the altcoins and Bitcoin. But the whole market will bleed out, in my opinion, when when the market ends its bull run.
Yeah, and so I've been telling people, mostly my close friends and people who take the time to listen to me outside of the crypto chats and stuff like that. But my number and my low number for the next bear run is about 35K. I think Bitcoin in the 40 to 50K range is extremely de-risked meaning that if you were to buy, if you bought a 45K Bitcoin and you were in a coma for 5 years and you woke up, and you wanted to sell, God forbid, whatever happened else in the world, Bitcoin should not be much lower than that. It could be higher than that, but I don't think you will lose money, meaning that your investment, regardless of the volatility we'll see throughout the bull run, throughout the bear cycle, you should be very safe and de-risked based on-chain metrics, long-term holding metrics, hash rate metrics, reward metrics, based on all of these things, and correlating with previous bull cycles and bear cycles. 40 to 50K is very de-risked, and we always see a small capitulation phase at some point that leads us in, that is generally the catalyst for the next bull cycle. Every capitulation phase is followed by a consolidation, then a run up. The capitulation will probably be around that 35K range. So if you got Bitcoin in 35 to 50K or less, you're great for probably the majority of your life. Not investment advice, knock on wood, but that is a very safe place for Bitcoin purchases to be had. And obviously, if you're buying here, be careful around these levels as well, because eventually you're going to want to take profits. Maybe you're going to hold forever, but I assume people are going to want to, shave off some off the top eventually. So that's my opinion for what we'll probably see the next bear cycle, but that may change, as we near the top of the bull cycle.
Sounds realistic.
Very cool.
Very cool. What are we at? Are we open yet? Are we trading?
We
So
are.
I've heard it will go at 1:30 Eastern.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that rumbling on the interweb myself.
The interwebs, yeah.
Why? Why does it? So because this is actually in the chats. Why is it being pushed back so much?
Well, it's
They're
typical.
waiting for JPOW to ruin the market for
Yeah, J-Pal. We banned it.
Yeah.
This is typical action that's seen when by the exchanges when doing this, and usually you're either going to list somewhere between historically 10:30 to 11:30. For lunch, everybody literally goes away, and then do it again at 1:30 and after. A lot of things are being prepared. I'm assuming that NASDAQ has its complete tech team down, making sure that there's nothing trying to prevent the exchange from crashing. It can crash. It has in the past. And trying to make sure that it's creating an efficient market. Now we bring up Facebook. There's been a lot of scandals that have gone on that have been attributed to exchanges during IPOs in the past, and that includes unfair markets due to something breaking down in one area where you had open buy orders or open sell orders. So I'm assuming that NASDAQ is doing everything it can to prevent itself being a front page of a New York Post story tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alex. I think this could be the largest public listing ever. It's a rare IDO or direct listing DL for NASDAQ. So I think they're going to take all the time in the world to make sure that they don't crash and get the bad press. They'll screw over as many retail traders as they need to make sure that their systems stay on. So. But I have to jump for another meeting, so it's been great hopping on with you guys. Thanks so much, and I'll be posting a lot of stuff online today as more data rolls in. So see you guys later.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Nick. Nick, our TTC, our Trade the Chain Chief Community Officer and Research Analyst. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rob from Digital Asset News and Danish Chaudhry, head of Bitcoin.com exchange. Where we're at is we have a rumored time of about 1:30 for the first trade of Coinbase's shares to get traded, ticker coin. We've been following the synthetics shares on FTX, and they've consolidated quite a bit. And we've been following CNBC and what they're doing. So I think what we'll do, Danish, is let's take a break, and we can come back at 1 o'clock for a normal Trade the Chain episode, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Let me look at my schedule. I can do 2 o'clock. Well, I'll hop on at 2:00, I guess.
Yeah, hop on at 2:00. Say with you, Rob, we'll be going on at 1, and you hop on whenever you want. And hopefully get to see the first trade. Hopefully I get the alert that my trades were filled, but that is doubtful.
I'm excited. We'll see, dude. We'll see. I'll just put up some orders right now too. Look, it's Bitcoin all over Bloomberg right now. They're just talking about how it's close to 65. Well, I mean, it's a little old right now, but yeah.
Oh God. All right, folks, we will see you at 1:00 Eastern time and resume as we go into actual live trading.
All right.